If I said to you Eiffel Tower, what do you see? Do you see the letters or do you see the tower?
People remember things most during periods of peak emotion.
So how do we get from stage to the back of the room? He's walking over the audience.
It's almost like you're binge watching your favorite Netflix show.
You can see the same person at some time jumping and get super excited.
Yeah.
And 3 characters later, you see him somewhere in a corner crying.
If we do 20 characters each year, 19 of them will be different.
For the very first time, now this event is open to the public.
So that's the concept of educating and entertaining at the same time.
If you watch the same movie again, maybe it's not gonna impress you at all. But if you see the same character again, you will get a totally different lesson.
Life will never be the same. Welcome to today's version of the 4 pillars, and today we're going to talk about something that's a core part of what we do, and it's the concept of what we call edutainment, and that's where we're combining entertaining people and educating them at the same time. You know, if you think about it, and I know most of us or most of you watching are probably a little too young to remember when Sesame Street first came out, the TV show, but I was a kid when it first came out. And, you know, the idea that as a parent, and, you know, if you don't have children, you can only imagine what it's like to have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old around. And a lot of times what parents would start doing when a TV was invented in the 50s is they would put their kid in front of the TV and it would become an electronic babysitter, right? Well, the problem with that is the child was taking information in, and it certainly wasn't helping educate them. And the Lord only knows if it was good or bad what they were watching on the TV. But Sesame Street came along and said, we're going to entertain children, but we're going to teach them how to add, how to spell, how to identify colors, all these things you want to do with a young child. And if you put your child in front of Sesame Street, they would sit there for hours and hours and hours, but your kid wouldn't go, hey, Dad, I want to learn more about math today. They would want to see about, you know, what was it, Big Bird and Ernie and Bert and all the different characters. So that's the concept of educating and entertaining at the same time. Now, here at Life Mastery, we have a training called A View from the Edge. And I just have to say, it is one of the most phenomenal training experiences people will ever go through. And the thing that's unique is there's virtually nowhere else in the world where people are doing it. And certainly no one is doing it to the level that we're doing it at. So, you know, it's an idea where you come for a weekend and, you know, whenever we can, we do it in a theater, a proper theater, something you'd see on Broadway or the West End in London. And instead of going through one play, you go through about 15 to 20 different short plays. But each one of the entertaining plays, which is different, has a very solid message about business, about life, about personal development, about leadership. And we combine these all together. So it's almost like you're binge watching your favorite Netflix show. Yeah. And you want to go to the next one, the next one, the next one. But all of that training is going in there. So imagine going to a training where you're taking virtually no notes, but you remember the information better. You know, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. So, I mean, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts about the view?
Yeah, so I remember my first view was in Nice. That was 2012.
Yeah, 2012. I remember that.
2012. So I couldn't understand what the view was all about. The one thing that triggered me to say, I'm going to this event, because that was my second event. So. Yeah. Personal development event was when you usually, when you are teaching and when you are trading, you are usually using a lot of analogies. And you said, whatever we say and whatever we hear, we are creating a picture in our mind. Right. So, and I remember specifically, you told me, if I say to you, Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
Specifically. Yeah. So if I said to you Eiffel Tower, what do you see? Do you see the letters or do you see the tower? And then I got it. I said few words to myself. I said, Pamela Anderson. What you say? I'm kidding. But, you know, it makes more sense to me, Pamela Anderson, than Eiffel Tower. So anyway, so then I went to the event, and, you know, the whole thing that I experienced there was obviously a unique experience. I never went through something similar before in my life. But the most important thing is that the lessons that you get from a character are hitting you every single time in a different way. Yeah. Depending on where you are at that period of your life. So I'm asking through the years, I ask people, which one is your favorite character? Yeah. What did you get from this character? How you received that? But I have never asked you, even though we're friends for over a decade, I have never asked you through the years, which one was your favorite character? Wow. And what was your biggest learning from a character that you did?
Wow. That's a great question. So first of all, we've done over 125 different characters over the years. So the concept is we'll do 15 or 20 during any given show, but people love to come year after year after year. So we rotate the characters on a regular basis. So for example, we have a farmer, we have a fisherman, we have a golfer, we have Michelangelo, you know, just so many different ones.
Prisoner.
The prisoner, for sure. The construction worker, the guy who's in the intensive care unit, is a patient on his deathbed, soldier. So we have all these different characters, and asking me what my favorite is honestly like asking me which one of my partners do I like best. Or which one of my children do I like best? Honestly, there's no one that I like better than the other. I love a lot of them though. Like, you know, I love the impact of the hockey player. There's just no doubt. So we do all these characters and we rotate them every single year. So if you come to this year's version of A View from the Edge in 2024, if you come back again in 2025, which I hope you do, if we do 20 characters each year, 19 of them will be different. We'll rotate the whole show. And if you come back the next year, they'll be different than the year prior. So let me just share, there's only one character I've done every view we've ever done. And this is our 25th year, by the way, of doing A View from the Edge. And that's the hockey player. And I know some people go, me personally, I'm not a big hockey fan, but the impact of the hockey player is probably had more of an impact than any other character we've done.
Yeah, so many people that are watching us right now, some of them, they've been at the view, some of them not. Something that I believe people want to hear is the story behind the characters, the story behind the view. For example, you remember the first time that you did the view. What year was that? How many characters? And what kept you going with the event, but also improving and advancing the event on a different level? So I remember 2012 was my first view. 2021 was the last one I've been. Totally different.
The production was on another level.
On a different level. Characters, people, everything. So
well, the first one was in the year 2000. So that's again in 2024. It'll be our 25th year of doing it. And the budget, when I think about it, it makes me laugh. So Richard Montez, who's done a lot of the views with us. Richard's a Christian missionary going all over the world. And the only secular show that I know of he's done in the last 25 years is our show. And he builds all the sets and everything. So Richard went to my church, and I remember going over to him after service because I spotted him and I knew he was in theater somehow. And I go, hey, I'm doing this show. I need some sets built. You know, I need some help with makeup and with this. And Richard did everything. And I think I other than buying the costumes, which we had to buy everything the first year, I think our whole production budget was $10,000 maybe, which I look at it now and that's hilarious, like how low it was. But I mean, you know, we just had one backdrop. We just hung like a blue sky. You know, I mean, we put everything in front of that. It stayed up the whole time. And, you know, everything was made pretty much out of paper mache. I mean, it was super light and super cheap. And, you know, I look back at photos of that one now and just go like, oh, what were we thinking? But it had a really solid impact. You know what I mean? In the theater, they say, you know, you suspend disbelief, meaning, you know, if you're sitting in a show, you just sort of roll with it and believe that that's a cactus, even though, you know, it's probably not a cactus and so on. So as the years have gone by, every year I love, you know, most important thing here for me is my phone. I'd be either writing notes about a character or I go to the audio part and I'll talk it out, the concept out. And to me, it's got to be like, I guess, a songwriter, you know, thinking of the idea for a song, and I'll just have an idea. Like, and a lot of times I'll maybe be on the treadmill running. It comes to me either in the gym or in the shower, and I race out in the shower before I dry myself so I don't forget exactly what the idea was. That's a bad visual, I guess. But
we say everything you say, we see it in pictures.
Yeah, well, there you go. So you just saw the Eiffel Tower. So anyway, moving right along. So it's a blast for me all year to come up with a list. And Monaco has been with this process for 20 years for sure. Yeah. And I'll come up with about, I don't know, over the course of a year, usually about 20 different ideas. Now we've already got 125. So we're going to select a bunch of those, but then we always want to add, you know, 3 or 4 newer ones, new ideas. And I'll sit down with 20 and whittle it down to 3 or 4, 2 or 3. And part of it is, can we even do this in a theater? You know, some of my ideas are rather grandiose. Like remember when we did the astronaut? Like I want to be an astronaut and I want to be in the capsule in space. Then I want to land on the moon. They're kind of looking at me going,
it's always a process, because obviously he comes up with the character or even the teaching. And then it's like, okay, how do we develop this? I want to do like the fireman Jones type of scenario where I walk over the audience.
Yeah.
So how do we get from stage to the back of the room?
Yeah.
He's walking over the audience.
Yeah.
Or
like Chris Angel.
I want to be a fireman, and I want to, you know,
we want to put a building on fire, and then I want
to on fire. And you know, he's just thinking of these things, and in my mind, it's like, okay, what building are we in? Can we set on fire on stage?
Yeah.
Can we have water? Can we not have water?
Yeah.
You know, different things.
We found out there's a lot of rules in theaters.
And then obviously, as well as you mentioned, budgets. I mean, there's always budgets that we've got to figure out, and that
how do we do it?
You know, kind of how do we do all of that?
For me, besides, I mean, the budgets and how you guys, I mean, organize all these things, the most powerful, I mean, seeing Mark over the last 10 years doing that, it amazed me how he can change from character to character. I can say there are actors that they cannot do what you are doing. And I said many times to you at the end of the event, I said, you could easily become an actor. I mean, it's amazing what happens there and how you can transform yourself. But the most amazing thing is to be able to see in today's people going through different emotions. I mean, you can see the same person at some time jumping and get super excited. And 3 characters later, you see him somewhere in a corner crying. And getting through the biggest breakthrough of their life.
Jumping on stage.
That's
jumping.
That was something we experienced as well.
Well, you know what's funny is
I really want to congratulate you about that. Something for me, it's something. Wow.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Well, for me, it's like I learned a long time ago from my mentor, and my mentor, by the way, I want to be clear, he used to do trainings like this when I was in the audience. So I didn't invent this by any means. And, you know, I just tried to take what he did, which was extraordinary, and just, you know, try to evolve it and make it go forward. And he taught me that people remember things most during periods of peak emotion. And then you think about a movie, like it would just hit me as I'm sitting there watching a movie, and like there's movies that really move you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you remember it, and you don't just remember the movie, you remember how it made you feel. And that just became what stuck in my head. If I can make people feel something, then even if it might be a painful feeling, a lot of times that's what it's going to take for them to have a true breakthrough and get the results they want in their life. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression. First of all, you said something really important. You said in the beginning, you were like, I didn't understand. Like, that's the problem. If you've never been in this training, I'm going to be real with it. It sounds almost corny. Like, it's like, oh, you're going to act things out. It just, it doesn't sound like what it really is. And we do things at the highest level possible. I mean, we do have an exceptional budget. That's why the training is not cheap by any means. Mm-hmm. But we've got to do it up to a certain standard in our mind to create the right environment so that you can have those moments. But here's the thing. Most of the training, if you're coming to this 3-day event and it's long days, most of the characters are going to make you laugh more than are going to make you cry. I mean, we have a lot of fun with things. Right. Again, if you show audience shots, you'll see people doing belly laughs, laughing their asses off. There's a lot of really hilarious stuff. But that's why when we do have the intense emotional ones, they hit hard because they're few and far between. And our intention, honestly, is to take people on a roller coaster ride where they're going up and down, an emotional roller coaster ride, and try to end it with an incredible crescendo. Like, again, the hockey player always ends Saturday night, and it's always an incredibly powerful breakthrough for the people that participate in it. So, yeah, it's an honor to do it. And, you know, our goal is to take the people who've been through it before, and hopefully you want to reattend, you know what I mean? So you can have your own personal experience. And to your point, if you've seen the farmer before, it'll be different this time. If you've seen any of the characters before, it'll be different. Plus, we have a bunch of new ones for the one that we're doing. But then on top of that, bring your people with you. Because again, when your team, who's never been there before, has this truly unique experience, you'll probably get more production out of them than you've ever got.
And another thing of that, because I have many people in the past asking me, why shall I go again? In my mind, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people, is that it's not like you are watching the same movie again. Mm-hmm. If you watch the same movie again, maybe it's not going to impress you at all. But if you see the same character again, you will get a totally different lesson like based on the phase you are in your life at that time.
Rocky 1, Rocky 2.
Yeah. No. If you see Rocky 1 the same 3 times, going to be the same feeling. Yeah. But if you see the hockey player 3 times the same character, you will have a different
version. I think one of the most important things, though, is especially at the platform that we're in now with Life Mastery Trainings, is for the very first time now this event is open to the public. Which to me that's huge, because before it was kind of like, hey, you get to come if you're a part of one of the companies we've been working with, or one of, you know, where Mark's director of training. But now for the first time, because of Life Mastery and just the, you know, the way that it's set up, it's open to anybody. Yeah. So any industry, if you've been in direct sales, not in direct sales, if you sell roofs, you know, any cars, anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be sales.
But the truth is, when we started this company, when we started Life Mastery, we knew from the beginning, from day one, that our X factor, the unique program, the unique show that we can provide the world that nobody else does, is the view.
Right.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. So I'm very excited. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and go, please do the view. Because again, to make sure your point is clear to everybody, I've been very blessed to have clients on a regular basis for the whole 25 years I've been doing this. And if we were doing the view for them, it was the view for them. And no one who wasn't in that company could come to it. So now it's the first time in my life we've ever done it where anyone from any walk of life can come. And I've had so many people say, I wish I was in your company, but I'm in this company. Or I don't even do sales anymore. I'm doing this. will you ever do the View? When are you going to do the View that I could attend it? So I know we've got a lot of past students. So if you are a past student, please spread the word to other people you know are going to want to come. But then what's most exciting to me, like you said, is there's no doubt that the people who reattend still get a lot out of it. But the first time someone goes through it, I remember the first time I went through it. I mean, it is literally life altering. So I cannot wait. Our first one that we're doing is in Croatia. And, we're going to have some other phenomenal, powerful speakers there as well, by the way. This is what's a bonus to the View. Mm-hmm. So if you were just getting the View, everything we've told you about, you would love it. But in a theater, when the curtain closes, what's going on behind the curtain? Well, if you could see it, you would be impressed. There's people running around like it's crazy back there. One set's getting torn down. The other one's getting built. I'm running back to my, dressing room, taking makeup on, putting this on, take different costumes. We're hustling. But even with all that activity, it takes 30 to 40 minutes to get ready for the next character. So while that's going on and the curtain is closed, in front of the character comes Stavros or George or some of the other speakers we're going to have. And we have a powerful lineup of speakers who are nothing to do with the character. So that's really
it's
fun.
Just other individuals that have followed you, and or, these two gentlemen in the past. And now they're like, okay, now you're opening the doors or, pulling back the curtain to allow us to be able to experience a view from the edge. So, we've got, like you said, powerful speakers that are like, hey, I want to partner up. I want to bring my team. I want to bring my family. I mean, I've got friends that have been reaching out to me that have said, hey, for the past 20 years, we've seen you produce this show, travel all over the world, and you've always mentioned that it's for a certain company. Well, now it's not for a certain company. So now, and they're in real estate or they're in, different, companies. So now they're going to be able to experience for the first time in 20 years that they've been seeing just through social media, pictures, videos, this and that, where they'll be able to, not only attend the View, but then also do it with a bit of an experience going to Croatia.
Oh yeah, and I've already had people from Africa, from Asia, from the U.S. going, hey, I love to travel. Let's go to Europe. So it's truly going to be people from all over the globe for this first one, which is going to be fun. And I do want to mention that we do have most of our speakers from in-house, which I love. That's one of our parts of our mission statement or our goals as a company is we want to have the most powerful speakers and trainers emerge from our company. We want to be a breeding ground for great speakers. And, we're not going to put someone on stage at one of our events if they're not exceptional. So we'll have a bunch of our quote unquote homegrown people that are part of our tribe. But we must also say that we have an outstanding guest speaker coming as well. And, I forget which one of you guys turned me on to Daniel G. And I know a lot of you probably follow Daniel G. He's got over 1 million followers on social media. Mm-hmm. Man, when I see this guy's videos and we talk to him, he is exactly cut from the same cloth of what I learned from him. He is straightforward, in your face, unapologetic, but just so technically correct with everything he teaches. So I know that when people attended our Unstoppable event, I was able to teach great communication stuff or closing things. You did a lot on overcoming objections, and as good as I think we did, I know Daniel G is going to take it to a whole different level. So that's the other part of our strategy is to have these homegrown speakers. But when we bring someone in from the outside,
it has to be.
The first person we had was Robert Kiyosaki, which I think that speaks for itself. But we are really excited to expose our community to Daniel G. He is the real deal. And I'm telling you, as good as the View is, I think if people just came to hear his keynotes, that they would get a lot of value just from that.
Yep. Yeah. But even, other, like you mentioned, Daniel G will be coming, but then we've also got a couple of other, guest speakers that we need to kind of finalize and everything. So I think
we'll be announcing.
The audience is going to be in for
Yeah, you'll have two shows. The show behind the curtain, the main show, and then the other show, which for some people will be just as powerful.
Plus everything we're putting together, the accommodation, the parties, the dinners, the limo rides.
I mean, for the view from the edge, it's just always an experience.
It's an experience.
Friday night, you get dressed up, tuxedos. The ladies wear, evening gowns, red carpet, paparazzi. So it's a big,
It's almost like you're going to the academy. We're trying to tie into that theatrical theme. So suits, whatever. You don't have to wear a suit or a tux, but a lot of people do, and the ladies love it. The guys are like, oh, I got to put on a suit and tie. But you want to keep your ladies happy, and the ladies get a chance to get absolutely, dressed up to the nines, and it's fun, man. The photo opportunities. Some people definitely take limos there. They take limos out to dinner afterwards. It's a very fun environment for sure. Yeah,
it starts with the red carpet.
Yeah.
And it finishes with the red carpet.
Well, the red carpet's the after party.
The after party.
That's the other thing with all of our events. Obviously, with me being blue, I love it because it's Europe. You get action, energy, and everything. But you also get the after parties as well, which that's been something that Europe's been notorious.
Maybe. I think
without a doubt, the best after parties are in Europe.
I think we need a whole
That's
podcast.
not to diminish anyone else.
We need a whole
how to do the after party. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Training.
So edutainment, entertaining and educating at the exact same time. It's going to be a party in Croatia in March. Make sure you get registered. We'll put the information here. We do have a significant discount right now that if you get registered earlier. And again, if you're from the past, please come back. Nothing would mean more to me personally to have you think enough of the training to reattend, and please bring someone new with you guys. Again, our whole mission at Life Mastery is to have a major impact on people's lives. As Stephen Jobs said, to make a dent in the universe, to really, really make a difference. And as Stavros said, this is the training. This is what makes us unique and different. And you will definitely want to get there because the tagline to this training says it all. Life will never be the same. We'll see you at next week's version of the 4 Pillars.